o'zbek tiliga chiroyli qilib tarjima qilib berishga harakat qilaman. Конечно, professional emas-ku, lekin I'll do my best. Уже boshlamadim.
Bizlar endi shu anglichanlarga o'xshab ketganda, chunki bizni tillarimiz nima aylanmaydi. Men she'rda katta bo'lgan 15 yil bo'lsa, nima ham Nasiba ham she'rda o'qiydi. Endi bizlarning universitetda faqat shu nima ingliz tilida gapiramiz-da. Shuning uchun harakat qilamiz. Bugun mana shu hammamiz she'rda sizlarga tarjima qilib, nima qilib berishga. Nasiba, rahmat, sizni nima shunaqa nima qilib vaqtingizni oldik endi. Nima qilib Xudo xohlasa bu darsda ham juda ham taniqli mehmonimiz bor. U kishi bu seshanba kuni kiradilar. U kishi ham juda ham taniqli siyosatchi Britaniya parlamentida Afzalxon. U kishi haqida albatta keyingi 2-3 kunda sizlarga ma'lumot beramiz. Ham sizdan so'rab qolaman, Nasiba, agar tarjimonlik nimangizni qilsangiz.
Inshaalloh. Inshaalloh.
Hozir mehmonimizni taklif qilamiz. Mehmonni tanishtirsam, mehmonga keyin nimani Nasiba Raupovani tanishtiraman. Iltimos hamma nima mikrofonni o'chirsin, zapis ketyapti bizda. Shuning uchun harakat qilamiz, bir tinchlik saqlashiga, hurmat qilishiga mehmonimizni iltimos. Nasiba, I will have to sometimes, mute everybody because sometimes, they don't understand. Some of them are new, and when I mute everyone, please switch on back again to translate. And yes, it happens. Aziz ayollar, marhamat, nimamizni o'chiramiz, o'z darsimizni boshlaymiz. Assalomu alaykum, hammalaringga xush kelibsizlar. Yangi kelganlarga assalomu alaykum. Yangi qo'shilganlarga assalomu alaykum. Bugungi mana shu mehmonimiz Dame Meri, u kishi haqida men nima yuborgan, ma'lumotlar yuborgan. Mana shu 90 ga yaqin kompaniyalarga yetakchi rais bo'lib kelganlar va mana shu 7 ta universitetni tugatganlar, 15 ta yutuqlarga, nufuzli yutuqlarga erishgan ayollar. Shu temir xotinni bilasizlar, Margaret Thatcher, dunyodan ko'z yumganlar u kishi. O'sha Iron Lady deyiladi, uni hamma taniydi u kishi, Железная Lady. Mana shu ayolni yaqinlari, ya'ni o'rtoqlari va mana shu qirolicha unvonini olgan nufuzli siyosatchi ayolimiz, she'rdalar hozir u kishini taklif qilib qolamiz. Good afternoon, Dame Meri. You may participate, and I will welcome you. All our ladies are here, and they are waiting for you. So please, if I may, I have introduced you, and we have a translator here. Her name is Nasiba Raupova. Today she will help you to translate your speech.
Thank you. Thank you, Guli, and hello, everybody. It's lovely to be with you this afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dame Meri. I'm the translator. You can just call me Nasiba, and I'll do my best to translate your speech into Uzbek. So if you just give me a second, I'll do the translation right now. Barchaga assalomu alaykum. Bugun sizlarni ko'rib turganimdan juda ham mamnunman. Sizlar bilan bugungi Zoomda ko'rishib turganimdan xursandman deb aytdilar.
So my friend and neighbor in London, Guli, has asked me to say a few words about being a woman in a position of leadership. And the first thing I'd like to say is that leaders aren't born, they are made.
Okay. Mana yaqin do'stim va qo'shnim Guli Xonim mendan shu bugungi mitingda qatnashib o'zimni fikrimni, ya'ni ayollar, ya'ni ayol aynan lider qanaqa bo'lishi kerak, shu haqida o'zimni fikrimni aytishim haqida ozgincha speech qilishim uchun taklif qildilar va bugun aytishim kerak bo'lgan muhim narsa bu liderlar tug'ilmaydi, liderlar kashf etilinadi.
So leaders don't suddenly appear. You don't suddenly become a leader any more than you really suddenly become a wife or a mother. There's an event that triggers that name, but growing into the role takes longer.
Ya'ni lider bo'lib qolish bu o'zidan o'zi bo'lib qoladigan holat emas. Ayol bo'lish yoki turmush o'rtoq bo'lish bu aynan bu so'zga erishishni o'zi ozgincha mehnat talab qiladi.
So I'm going to share my screen, or I hope I'm going to share my screen, and I will show you how I became a leader and what influenced my career.
Hozir men ekranimni sizlarga поделиться qilaman va qanaqa qilib o'zim lider bo'lganim haqida ozgincha ma'lumot berib o'taman deb aytdilar. Sorry. Mute qilishinglarni so'rab qolardik, chunki hozir orqa fonda shovqin bo'lib qoldi.
Iltimos ovozlaringni nima o'chirsalaring, mikrofonlaringni, hurmatli ayollar.
Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Good, thank you.
You
Okay.
can pull it in the button here so that we'll see the full screen.
Yes, hang
It's
on.
down on the right side. Yeah, you were close.
Let me see, hang on.
Okay.
Iltimos mikrofonlaringni o'chiringlar.
How about that?
Yes,
Perfect.
you can say it
Good.
fully.
Okay. Tell me if it stops working, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So I'll start by telling you a little bit about my family. I'm the middle of 3 children. You can see me on the right in the photo in the middle, with my elder sister Janet and my younger brother David, with our father on the left and our mother on the right.
Men oilada 3ta farzandning ichida o'rtanchi farzandman. Mana rasmda ko'rib turganingizdek, 3ta farzand ko'ryapsizlar rasmda. Shunda chap tomondagi Janet bu opachalari, o'rtadagi David bu ukalari va o'ng tomondagi ayol bu Merining o'zlari. Va rasmni eng o'ng tomondagi rasm bu onalari hisoblanadilar va bu yerda turgan kishi ularning adalari hisoblanadilar.
So I was lucky to have very supportive parents, and also my elder sister, who's 5 years older than I am, was a tremendous help to me when I was young. So my father was an accountant. My mother didn't have a profession. They didn't in those days. And my father was always very supportive of his 2 daughters, as well as his son, who became incidentally a surgeon.
Bizning oilamiz juda ham bir-birini qo'llab-quvvatlaydigan oilada dunyoga kelganman. Adamlar buxgalter bo'lib ishlaydilar, ya'ni hisobchi. Onamlar professiyalari bo'lmagan, ya'ni yuqori ta'lim professorlari bo'lmagan. Ukalari esa ya'ni nima desa bo'ladi, surgeon. Hozir bir daqiqa. Doktor, aynan how do we translate it?
Surgeon.
Operatsiya qiluvchi. Jarroh, yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So my first school, my primary school, which I went to at the age of 3, which is, I think, younger than usual, was in Epsom, which is south of London. It was a mixed school, boys and girls. It didn't have any formal science classes, but I became interested in science there because they had a wonderful room with scientific curiosities in it, which I was fascinated by.
Mani maktabim, ya'ni 3 yoshimda boshlagan maktabim Epsonda joylashgan Christopher maktabi bo'lgan, rasmda ko'rib turganinglardek. Lekin bu maktabda aynan ilmga, ya'ni naukaga moslashtirilgan fanlar ko'p bo'lmagan, lekin u yerda shunaqangi xona bo'lganki, aynan ilm fanga, ya'ni naukaga moslashtirilgan har xil jihozlar bo'lgani hisobiga men naukaga qiziqishni boshlaganman.
Then at the age of 11, I was sent off to an all-girls boarding school, a famous old boarding school, Cheltenham Ladies College, where you see me here as the youngest girl in my house group, and rather terrifyingly, my sister Janet, who was head of house at the time.
Hop, 11 yoshimda esa men ayollar maktabiga o'tganman, ya'ni Cheltenham Ladies College degan ayollar maktabi, faqatgina ayollar o'qiydi bu yerda. Bu maktabda rasmda ko'rib turganingizdek, eng kichkinasi Meri hisoblanadilar. Mana qizil bilan dumaloq qo'yilgan, bular o'zlari, ko'kda dumaloq qo'yilgan, bu ularni opalari, ya'ni opachalari.
From school, I was lucky to get a place at the University of Oxford to study, to read, as we say, chemistry. And I went up, as we say, I attended St-Anne's College, Oxford, for 4 years, 1962 to 1966. In those days, the colleges at Oxford and Cambridge were all single sex. So St-Anne's was one of the women's colleges.
Maktabdan so'ngra esa 1962-yildan 1966-yilgacha Sent-Anne kollejida, ya'ni Oksforddagi Sent-Anne kollejida ta'lim topganlar va u yillarda u yerdagi kollej va universitetlar asosan ayollar uchun, ya'ni single sex degani yokida faqatgina ayollar uchun yokida faqatgina erkaklar uchun moslashtirilgan bo'lgan. Shuning hisobiga u maktablar single sex deb ataladi, ya'ni bir genderlik degani. Va bular aynan shu ayollar o'qiydigan Sent-Anne kollejida tahsil olganlar va u yerda ximiya fanini o'qiganlar. Kimyo.
In 1966, it was a special year for me. I graduated. There's my graduation photo on the left. And I also married the handsome young athlete you see on the right, Jeffrey Archer, who became a member of Parliament and is now a member of the House of Lords, like Guli's husband.
1966-yilda umid qilishingizni so'raymiz. 1966-yilda ular mana rasmda ko'rib turganingizdek, chap tarafdagi rasmda bularni o'sha bitiruv kechalari. Aynan shu yil bular uchun juda ham bir boshqacha yil bo'lgan, chunki ular universitetni bitirganlar va young atletga turmushga chiqqanlar va hozirgi juda ham endi handsome deb atadilar, ya'ni juda ham chiroyli insonga turmushga chiqqanman deb aytdilar. Va hozir bu inson sportchi bo'lish bilan bir qatorda aynan lordlar parlamentida ham a'zolar.
We moved to London and I did my PhD, Doctor of Philosophy degree in chemistry at Imperial College. In those days, in this magnificent building, an old building, which has since been knocked down, but that's where I did my doctorate in chemistry.
Xuddi shu yilda 66-yildan 68-yilgacha ular doktoranturani Angliyadagi Imperial kollejda o'qiganlar. Aynan bu Imperial kolleji butun Buyuk Britaniyada 5 talik universitetlarning ro'yxati bor, mana shunga kiradi, ya'ni G5 deb ataladi. Eng nufuzi yuqori bo'lgan universitetlar kollejidan bittasi hisoblanadi va ular doktoranturani aynan kimyo yo'nalishida.
After my PhD, or during my PhD, I decided I wanted to become an academic, to teach and research chemistry at university level, for which I needed some more training. So I went back to Oxford for postdoctoral work.
O'qishda o'qib yurgan paytlarida, yani doktoranturani o'qib yurgan paytlarida imperialda bular aynan universitet darajasida dars berish va har xil izlanishlar qilishni xohladilar va 68-yildan 72-yilgacha Oksford universitetiga postdoktoral, ya'ni doktoranturadan keyingi bosqichga o'qishga kirdilar.
So at Oxford here, I was associated with two more women's colleges, St Hilda's College on the left and Somerville College on the right, both women's colleges. At Somerville College, the senior chemistry lecturer was Dorothy Hodgkin, who is Britain's first and only Nobel laureate. She had won her Nobel laureate prize in chemistry in, I think, about 1950.
Postdoktorantura o'qib yurgan paytlarimda, ya'ni doktoranturadan keyingi bosqichni o'qib yurgan paytlarimda men aynan ikkita ayollar kollejiga bog'langan bo'lganman. Bu aynan St Hilda's kolleji, bu rasmda chap tarafdagi kollej va Somerville kolleji, ya'ni bu o'ng tomondagi rasmdagi kollej. Aynan Somerville kollejida shu Angliyadagi Dorothy degan ayol aynan kimyo fani bo'yicha Nobel mukofotiga ega bo'lgan ayol tahsil olganlar.
After that period, I did a second period of postdoctoral work at a place called the Royal Institution in London.
Bundan so'ngra bular ya'ni doktoranturadan keyingi bosqichdan yana boshqa institutda qilganlar. Bu Royal Institution of London, ya'ni Londonning Royal instituti hisoblanadi. 68-yildan 72-yilgacha shu yerda tahsil olganlar.
This is a very famous old scientific institution where once Britain's most famous scientist, I would say, Michael Faraday, was once director. But when I was there, the director was Jorj Porter. I've ringed him, Professor Sir Jorj Porter, another Nobel laureate. And here I am ringed as one of his postdoctoral students.
O'sha o'qib yurgan yillarimda bu institutning direktori Michael Faraday bo'lgan ekanlar, ya'ni aynan shu nauka sohasi juda ham o'zini katta hissasini qo'shgan inson. Lekin undan keyin bular tahsil olayotganlarida Jorj Porter degan inson direktorlik qilganlar va ular ham Nobel laureatiga ega inson. Rasmda ko'rib turganinglardek o'rtada o'tirgan kishi belgilab qo'yilgan. Bular shu inson bo'ladilar va o'ng tomonda dumaloqga belgilab qo'yilgan ayol bular o'zlari bo'ladilar.
It was while I was at the RI, the Royal Institution, that I became interested in the conversion of solar energy to fuels and electric power. And Jorj Porter encouraged that interest.
O'qishda o'qib yurgan yillarimda men aynan quyosh energiyasini konversiya qilish, ya'ni nima desa bo'ladi, ya'ni uni o'rnini bosadigan nima desa bo'ladi, hozir aytaman. Ya'ni quyosh energiyasi orqali texnikaga yordam berish, ya'ni energetikaga yordam berish va uni o'rnini bosadigan qanaqadir bir energetika topishga qiziqib qolganman va bu ishimda meni qo'llab-quvvatlagan inson Jorj Porter bo'ladi.
And it was at the RI that I founded the United Kingdom section of a body called the International Solar Energy Society. I went to a conference in Paris in 1973 of this international society and realized there was no UK section, so I founded it. There's a picture of the founding issue of the society.
Büyük Britaniyadagi ikkinchi ayol, eng влиятельный tashabbuschi.
Mikrofonlarni o'chirib qo'ysanglar, bizga juda ham shovqin kelyapti. Ular 1973-yilda konferensiyaga qatnashganlar, aynan xalqaro o'sha quyoshni energiyasi bo'yicha jamiyat bor ekan va shu konferensiyada qatnashganlar va bilganlarki, что bu konferensiyada aynan Angliyani vakillari yo'qligini va shundan keyin 74-yilda bu jamiyatga Angliyadagisiga o'zlari asos solganlar.
So one of the things I'd say, not so much about leadership as a woman, but about being happy in your career, is you need to find something you're really passionate about. And I was and am passionate about renewable energy.
Lider bo'lishdan tashqari bitta narsani aytib o'tishim kerakki, ya'ni siz o'zingizni ishlayotgan karyeringizda baxtli his qilishingiz uchun, o'zingizni baxtli his qilishingiz uchun siz aynan o'zingizga yoqadigan sohada ishlashingiz kerak yoki o'zingizga juda ham qattiq qiziqadigan sohangizda ishlashingiz kerak va men ayniqsa shu qayta ishlab chiqariladigan energiyaga qiziqqanman va shu narsa meni qiziqishim bo'lgan.
And I've maintained that by editing and part writing so far 3 books on aspects of conversion.
Oh.
Are you saying or?
Sorry?
You're okay. You've finished. I thought someone
yes,
was speaking.
yes. So,
okay.
yes.
Bundan tashqari va kitoblar yozganman. Aynan kitoblarimni ekranda ko'rib turganingizdek, o'sha aynan quyosh energiyasi bo'yicha kitoblar qilganman.
So going back to my career, because these books were published later, just to introduce you to my 2 children, William, born in 1972, and James, born in 1974. You can see them in the middle picture as choir boys. I was choir mistress of the church where I live in Cambridge. And then you can see them on the right as guests at a wedding, rather older.
Bu rasmlarda hozir karyeramdan tashqari farzandlarim haqida ham aytib o'tsam, rasmlarda ko'rib turganingizdek 72-yilda tug'ilgan William va 74-yilda tug'ilgan James farzandlarimni ko'rishingiz mumkin. Va o'rtadagi rasmda esa ular ya'ni serkifda volontyorlik qilishgan va serkifda tushgan rasmlarni ham ko'rsangiz bo'ladi va undan tashqari 2004-yilda o'sha to'ydagi o'rtoqlarini rasmlarini qo'yganlar.
And going out of sequence again, I now have 4 lovely grandchildren, Alexander on the left and Sophia Teresa on the right are the children of William, my elder son, and Harry and Vivian in the middle are the children of James. And there's a little brother on the way for Harry and Vivian coming in the summer.
Bu rasmda ko'rib turganingiz bilan meni nevaralarim, chap tomonda turgan Alexander va eng oxirgi o'ng tomonda turgan Sofiya bu meni katta o'g'limning farzandlari va o'rtada turgan Harry bilan Vivian bular kichkina farzandimni farzandlari, lekin bularga yaqinda yana kichkina bolacha o'g'il bola qo'shiladi, yaqinda tug'ilish arafasida.
And I would say that children are all very well and very nice, but grandchildren, we say, are the dessert of life, the dessert, this wonderful pudding, the special treat of life.
Bizda o'zbekchada bitta maqol bor-ku, danagidan mag'zi shirin degan narsa. Bular ham shu narsani hozir aytib o'tdilar. Farzandlarimdan ham nevaralarim eng men uchun shirin, ya'ni desertga o'xshatyaptilar. Shirin hayotimning shirin bo'lagi deb aytibdilar.
So going back to my life, Jorj Porter, the director at the Royal Institution where I was, helped me to my next post, which was a permanent teaching post in chemistry at the University of Cambridge.
Royal Institute'dagi Jorj Porter, ya'ni ularni o'sha payt ishlab bergan direktorlari bularga aynan Kembridj universitetida kimyodan dars berishlari uchun ham qo'llab-quvvatlagan inson hisoblanadilar va hozir aynan Kembridj universitetida bu ayol kimyo fanidan dars berib keladilar.
And talking of George, I would say how helpful it is to have mentors in one's life and career. They can be male or female. But George was a great mentor to me. And more recently, I have been mentor to several young women.
Har bitta insonning hayotida o'zini ya'ni intiladigan, o'zini shu idealni ko'radigan odami bo'lsa va shunda siz maqsadingizga erishishingiz ham osonroq bo'ladi. Ya'ni kimga qarab siz taqlid qilishingiz, kimga qarab siz olg'a intilishingiz va bularning hayotlarida Jorj ularning o'sha paytdagi direktorlari juda ham katta rol o'ynaganlar va bularga ya'ni o'qituvchi, ustoz bo'lganlar. Va bundan tashqari hozirgi kunda bu ayolning o'zlari ham boshqa insonlarga shunaqa mentor sifatida yordam berib kelyaptilar.
Just to say that Newnham College on the left was and still is an all women's college in Cambridge, but Trinity College on the right is now mixed. That's to say takes both men and women, boys and girls. And that's usually the case in Oxford and Cambridge now. Newnham is unusual.
Hozir bir daqiqa hammaga iltimos mikrofoninglarni o'chirib qo'ysanglar, hozir mehmonimizda qiyinchilik bo'lyapti gapirishda, shuning uchun iltimos hammaga mikrofoninglarni o'chirib qo'ysanglar. No, I'm sorry, I didn't translate it yet because I was just saying them to mute their microphones.
Oh, right.
Now I will go to translate.
Okay, go on.
Rasmda ko'rib turganingizdek, bu yerda Newnham kolleji, bu aynan o'sha Kembrijdagi eng eski kollejlardan bittasi. Bu yerda halizgacha darslar faqatgina ayollar orqali bo'ladi, ya'ni ayollar o'qiydi bu maktabda, kollejda. Va Trinity College esa bu yerda o'sha aralashgan, ya'ni o'g'il bolalar ham, qiz bolalar ham o'qiydi. Lekin aynan Newnham kolleji bu aynan o'sha traditsion usulda qolgan, ya'ni aynan faqatgina ayollar o'qiydigan kolleji bo'lib saqlanib qolingan.
So I taught at Cambridge for 10 years, and I thought that would be my whole life. But as I came up to 10 years in that post, I began to get, we say, itchy feet. And I decided to quit teaching and the academic life.
Okay. Kembridjda men 10 yil dars berganman. Va 10 yildan keyin yanada o'sishni xohladim. Shundan keyin 10 yildan keyin dars bergandan keyin men Kembridjni tark etishga qaror qildim.
So I did a range of things, but the next job I'd like to mention was that I became chairman of the big university hospital group in Cambridge, which is called Cambridge University Hospitals.
Va undan so'ngra aynan Kembridj universitetida, ya'ni hospitals, ya'ni aynan meditsinaga направить qilingan NHS degan o'zi tashkilot bor Angliyada. Bu o'sha milliy xavfsizlik xizmati hisoblanadi va bu yerda o'sha mana yillarni ham ko'rsatib qo'yganlar. 93-yildan 99-yilgacha o'sha direktor anaqasida bo'lgan lavozimida, keyin 99-yildan 2002-yilgacha bu tashkilotda o'sha vice chair bo'lgan, ya'ni главный insonlardan bo'lganlar va 2002-yildan 2013-yilgacha chair, ya'ni eng yuqori lavozimlarni bittasini olganlar.
One of the initiatives I took while I was chair of Cambridge University Hospitals was to create Cambridge Global Health Partnerships, to form partnerships with hospitals in other areas of the world where we could share knowledge and exchange ideas. And I'm very proud of this. I founded it in 2006. It's still going strong, and it has links and partnerships in Botswana, in Africa, El Salvador, in Central America, Myanmar, where I hope it's all right because of the recent takeover of the government by the military, and also Uganda.
O'sha paytda ishlab yurgan yillarimda man Cambridge Global Health Partnerships, ya'ni Cambridgeni globalniy, ya'ni sog'liq bo'yicha sog'liq sohasida globalniy nima desa bo'ladi, hamkorlikni yo'lga qo'ydim. Bu yerda nafaqat Angliya va bundan tashqari barcha davlatlar hamkorligida o'zligini bilimlarini birlashishi, ya'ni bo'lishishi, aynan sog'liqni saqlash masalasi bo'yicha misol uchun Myanmar qo'shilgan, Uganda qo'shilgan va boshqa davlatlar, ya'ni 2006-yilda bu partnyorstvani tashkil topgan bo'lsa, hozirgi kungacha bu davom etib kelyapti. Ya'ni bu asosan o'sha butun dunyo bo'yicha o'zligini bilimlarini birlashish va birlashtirish va bundan tashqari yangi ideyalar olishga qaratilgan.
Being chair of Cambridge University Hospitals, that was by far the biggest job I had had to that date. And I had to did work within a framework, a regulatory framework, which is produced by the NHS, the National Health Service. And I'll show you that regulatory framework.
U yerda ishlab yurgan paytlarimda aynan shunaqangi tashkiliy masala bo'lganki, bu yerda men o'zimni o'sha liderlik qobiliyatlarimni ko'rsatishimga va o'zimni o'sha har xil qirralarimni ochishimga yordam bergan, ya'ni aynan mana shu milliy xavfsizlik xizmatida ishlab yurgan paytlarimda.
So one thing I'd say about being a leader is you may think it's more difficult to be leader of a large organization than a small one, but that's not really the case, provided your large organization functions well, because there are a lot of people in the team all working to the same purpose. Whereas in a small team, if you're leading a small team, you'll have to do a lot more work yourself.
Liderlikka keladigan bo'lsak, katta tashkilotlar va kichkina tashkilotlarni oladigan bo'lsak, bu yerda aynan kichkina tashkilotlarda liderlik yo'nalishida ishlash ozgincha qiyinroq, kim katta tashkilotlarga qaraganda, chunki katta tashkilotlarga keladigan bo'lsak, u yerda har bitta bo'limni o'zini o'sha mas'ul odami bo'ladi va hamma bitta maqsad sari olg'a suradi. Lekin kichkina tashkilotga keladigan bo'lsak, ko'proq ishi, ya'ni ko'proq o'sha bitta maqsadga yo'naltirilgan ishi ko'proq o'zingiz qilishingizga to'g'ri keladi. Shuning uchun kichkina tashkilotlarda ozgincha qiyinroq liderlik sohasida ishlash uchun katta tashkilotlarga qaraganda.
So this is the framework within which NHS hospitals and other health organizations that are managed in the public sector in the UK must work. There are these 9 leadership dimensions, and I'll just briefly say something about each of them, just very briefly, Nasiba. So, inspiring shared purpose, walking the talk, believing the values of the organization, reflecting the principles and values of the organization.
Bu yerda aynan o'sha NHSda faoliyat yuritgan paytimda aynan liderni 9 o'sha asosiy qaratilish kerak bo'lgan naqalari bor, ya'ni yo'nalishlari bor. Bulardan hozir bitta qisqacha aytib o'tib ketaman dedilar. Va birinchisi shu inspiring shared purpose, ya'ni bu o'sha kompaniyani maqsadi, kompaniyani kelajakka qo'ygan aynan qaysi yo'nalishda ketishi, bu narsani barchasini tushunib yetish va boshqalarga bu narsani yetkazib berish.
Then leading with care, understanding the emotions that affect your team and evaluating information, making decisions based on evidence and not on opinion.
Leading with care, ya'ni ikkinchisi bu aynan sizni qo'l ostingizda ishlayotgan insonlarni his qilayotganini tushunish va aynan qaror qabul qilishga kelganda aynan faktlarga asosan qaror qabul qilish. Lekin bu shunaqa holatlar ham bo'ladi, aynan fikrga nisbatan ham qaror qabul qilish holati bo'ladi, lekin bu yerda eng muhim narsa faktlarga asosan qaror qabul qilish. Mana shu narsaga katta urg'u berilgan.
Then connecting our service. that's one of the most difficult things in a large and complex organization, making sure that different teams interact and know what the others are doing, and then sharing the vision, again, conveying a picture to everyone of what everyone should be working towards in a clear and consistent way.
Connecting our service, ya'ni bu bizni o'sha ishlayotgan partnyorlarimiz orasida va hamkorlarimiz orasida, ya'ni bizani o'sha qilayotgan servisimizni, xizmatimizni bu narsalarni to'g'ri yetkazib berish va undan tashqari sharing the visionda aynan bizni nima ko'rayotgan bo'lsa, ya'ni lider sifatida bizni nima ko'rayotgan bo'lsa, bizani qo'l ostimizda ishlayotgan insonlar ham mana shu narsani ko'ra bilishi, shu narsani biz o'zimiz yetkazib bera olishimiz.
Then engaging the team, really valuing the contributions and the ideas of the people with whom you work, in my case, the board of the hospital, holding to account rather different, agreeing clear performance goals and quality indicators with your team, and providing feedback as to how they're doing.
Keyingisi engaging the team, ya'ni sizni shu qo'l ostida ishlayotgan ishchilaringizni o'zingizga birlashtirishingiz, ya'ni ular bizda o'zi O'zbekistonda asosan misol uchun shunaqa tashkilotlar bor, ko'pchilik direktorlar вообще boshqa narsani o'ylaydi, komanda вообще boshqa narsani o'ylaydi. Bu yerda ularni birlashtirish va ularni ko'proq bir-biriga qovushtirish, shu narsa ahamiyat qilinyapti. Keyingisi esa holding to account, bu ya'ni har bitta ishchini o'zini intiladigan qaysidir bitta plani bo'lishi, ya'ni korxonani ichida korxonani rivoji uchun intiladigan qaysidir plani bo'lishi juda ham muhim.
And then finally, developing capability, building up people's ability to meet future challenges, to prepare them for their next post, their promotion, and influencing for results. Leaders may not have executive power, but they have huge influence, and you need to use that influence to persuade and build the vision and ensure collaboration in your team.
Keyingisi capability deganda, ya'ni building capability bu aynan sizni o'sha ishchilaringizni misol uchun aynan bor qobiliyatini tushunish, sizni qo'l ostida ishlayotgan insonlarning qobiliyatini yaxshilab tushunish va ularni keyingi bosqichlarga o'tishda qo'llab-quvvatlash, ya'ni keyingi rollarga o'tganda, ya'ni постоянно ular o'sib borish kerak va shu keyingi rollarga tayyorlash ham kiradi va undan tashqari lider misol uchun ko'p narsa qilmasligi mumkin, lekin lider aynan boshqalarga ta'sir ko'rsata olishi juda ham muhim va boshqalar liderdan ko'rib turgan holatda o'sha o'zini qilayotgan ishida juda ham yaxshi samarali rezultatlarni olib kelishi va shu narsaga lider yordam berishi juda ham muhim hisoblanadi.
So that's a long list, and of course I didn't always get it right by any means, but I must have got something right because I was very proud when I stepped down to become a DBE, Dame Commander of the British Empire, for services to the National Health Service. And on the left you can see the Prince of Wales giving me the investing me with the insignia of DBE, which you can see me holding on the right with my husband, just outside Buckingham Palace.
Men lekin hamma hozir to'qqizta aytib o'tilganlarni hammasini qila olmagan bo'lsam ham, ya'ni qo'limdan kelgancha harakat qilganman, lekin hammasini qila olmagan bo'lsam ham 2012-yilda aynan DBE nomzodiga loyiq bo'lganman va bu narsa Dame Commander of the British Empire, ya'ni Britaniya imperiyasini xonim, ya'ni xonim damasi desa bo'ladi, ya'ni Deyim bu dama degan so'z hisoblanadi. Komandira unvoniga sazovor bo'lganlar va bu 2012-yilda aynan o'sha Wales prinsi tomonidan taqdim etilgan. Mana bu rasmda ko'rib turgan bo'lsanglar, shu unvonni o'zlari ushlab turibdilar, yonlaridagi esa bularni turmush o'rtoqlari. Aynan bular ya'ni Milliy Sog'likni Saqlash servisiga xizmat ko'rsatgan xizmatlari uchun shu unvonni olganlar.
So when I stepped down as chair of Cambridge University Hospitals, I thought that would probably be my last big job. But I was very fortunate in 2015 to become chair of the Science Museum Group, of which I had been a trustee in the decade 1990 to the year 2000.
Cambridge o'sha NHSdan ketganlaridan keyin bular o'ylaganlar, что bu meni eng katta qilgan ishim shu ish bo'lsa kerak deb o'ylaganlar. Lekin bularni yana bitta yutuq kutib turgan bo'lgan. Aynan Science Museum Group, ya'ni aynan naukaga bag'ishlangan muzeylar, Olimlar muzeyi, o'zbek tilida uzr, Olimlar muzeyiga bag'ishlangan gruppa deyiladi, ya'ni gruppada har xil muzeylar kiradi, aynan nauka, ya'ni olimlikka bag'ishlangan muzeylar kiradi va shuni o'sha chairmani va trustees hisoblanganlar, ya'ni juda ham katta lavozimlardan biri bu. Va bu yerda ahamiyat bergan bo'lsanglar, hattoki shu 1990-yildan 2000-yilgacha va 2015-yildan hozirgacha lavozimda ishlab kelyaptilar.
So you can see in the pictures there the 5 museums. The oldest, the flagship, is the Science Museum itself in London, in the top right.
Bu rasmda ko'rib turganingizdek eng qadimiysi bu o'sha Londondagi Olimlar muzeyi, Science Museum, mana rasmda o'ng tomonda, tepadan o'ng tomondagi rasm hisoblanadi. Science Museum deb yozib qo'yilgan.
So this is another public sector body. It is financed mostly by the government, but partly by income that we generate ourselves. And again, we have a governance framework.
Bu asosan ya'ni davlat tomonidan homiylik qilingan loyihalar hisoblanadi, lekin undan tashqari biz o'zimiz ham o'sha chiqargan, ya'ni fondimizdan o'zimiz ham sponsor qilganmiz, lekin asosan davlat homiylik qilgan loyihalar hisoblanadi.
And these are called the Nolan Principles of Public Life, after Lord Nolan, who did a report way back in 1994, called Standards in Public Life, and enunciated these 7 principles.
Mana bu sertifikat esa o'sha Lord ya'ni Nolan janoblari tomonidan topilgan 7 ta prinsiplar hisoblanadi. Aynan o'zingizni o'sha public life'da, ya'ni jamiyatdagi hayotingizdagi standartlaringiz, mana shu bo'yicha 7 ta prinsiplarni aytib o'tilgan. Hozir shu narsa haqida aytib o'taman.
So you can read the 7 principles: selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, openness, honesty, leadership.
Mana bu yerda ko'rib turganingizdek 7 ta shu aynan prinsiplar hisoblanadi. Bularni hozir bitta-bitta, hatto buni to'xtalib o'tish ham shart emas, lekin tarjimasini aytib o'tamiz. Bu yerda selflessness, ya'ni egoist bo'lmaslik, integrity, ya'ni o'sha bor anaqangiz bilan, ya'ni bor vujudingiz bilan o'zingizni o'sha qalbingiz bilan ishlash, objectivity, ya'ni har doim faktlarga asosan ish tutish, accountability, aniqlik, openness, ya'ni ochiq bo'lish, honesty, rostgo'y bo'lish va leadership, bu o'sha hammamiz bilganimizdek olg'a yurish, liderlik qobiliyati bo'lishi.
So every year the government department that manages museums will appraise me against those principles and ask how I have upheld them.
har yili aynan shu muzeylarni homiylik qilayotgan davlat tashkilotlari mana aynan shu 7 prinsiplar bo'yicha so'rashardi va aynan shularga men amal qilamanmi yoki yo'qmi shu bo'yicha meni taqdirlashardi.
I must say I feel a special responsibility to do the best I can for the Science Museum Group because I am the first woman ever to chair any national museum in the UK. Not something I'm proud of. It should have happened long ago.
Bu yerda juda ham katta mas'uliyatni his qilganman, chunki men bu, ya'ni olimlar muzey gruppasida, ya'ni yagona ayol hisoblanaman va ko'p yagona ayol bo'lganlarda va shuning uchun ham juda ham katta mas'uliyat his qilganlar, lekin bundan juda o'zlari g'ururlanib, mag'rurlanib etmayaptilar, lekin bu narsa juda ham oldin sodir bo'lgan bo'lishi kerak edi. Ya'ni nafaqat men va boshqa ayollar ham bu narsaga sazovor bo'lishi kerak edi deb aytibdilar.
So I think that's really all I wanted to say. But just to reflect briefly on being a woman and a leader, there's been a tendency for women to be coached to be like men in leadership. I would say rather that men should be more like women in leadership. There are a great many mediocre and poor male leaders, and we tolerate them because we're used to them.
Bugungi o'zi aytmoqchi bo'lgan, sizlarga bermoqchi bo'lgan ma'lumotlarimning asosiylari shular. Lekin shu narsani aytib o'tishim kerakki, o'zi lider, ya'ni ayol lider bo'lish bu ko'pincha erkaklarimiz ayollardan namuna olish kerak, qanaqa qilib liderlik bo'lish haqida. Chunki ko'pchilik ko'rganmiz, ya'ni erkak liderlarni ko'rganmiz, biz ularga haligacha chidab kelamiz, biz ularni amallab chidab kelamiz, lekin ular ayollardan o'rnak olishsa yaxshi bo'lardi deb aytdilar.
And I think there are several reasons why women do make better leaders. They know their own limitations. The only reason never to have self-doubt or insecurity is to be completely deluded.
Ya'ni ayol lider bo'lishida ko'proq muvaffaqiyatga erishishini asosiy bir sabablari bor. Bular asosan misol uchun o'zini ya'ni nima desa bo'ladi, slab his qilmaslik, ya'ni o'zini qo'lidan hamma narsa kelishiga ishonish, bu juda ham muhim aynan ayol lider bo'lishda.
Also, I think women are better at putting other people ahead of themselves. It's very hard to lead and inspire a group of people when your main focus is yourself.
Ko'pincha va undan tashqari ayollar o'zini ya'ni har doim olg'a qo'ymaydi, ya'ni o'zini man qilib olg'a qo'ymaydi. Asosan ayollar lider bo'ladigan bo'lsa, atrofdagilar fikrini hurmat qiladi, atrofdagilarni eshitadi va yuqori bo'lgan insonni yuqori qo'ya bila oladi va ayollar o'zini o'sha qaysidir momentga kelganda o'zini limitini biladi, qaysidir momentga kelganda o'zini nima deydi, chekkiga ola oladi.
And then going back to what I've said from time to time about mentoring, female leaders, women, I think, are more likely to develop helpful and supportive networks. Women leaders are more likely to coach and mentor their juniors, their team members. And leaders who are completely self-centered are very unlikely to turn their subordinates into a high-performing team.
boyagi aytib o'tgan narsalarimga qaytadigan bo'lsam, ya'ni mentor bo'lish, ya'ni kimgadir o'qituvchi yoki kimgadir o'sha rol model deymiz-ku, ya'ni kimgadir qarab biz intilamiz. Mana shu holatlarda ayollar ko'proq atrofdagi insonlarga, atrofdagi o'sha o'ziga yordam so'rab kelgan insonlarga ko'proq yo'l yo'riq ko'rsata oladi, ko'proq ularga yordam bera oladi, ko'proq ularni qo'llab-quvvatlay oladi, chin erkaklarga qaraganda. Chunki ayollarda kamroq aynan ya'ni o'zini o'ylashlik, bu hissiyotlar ayollarda kamroq bo'ladi. Va shuning uchun ham ayol o'rgatuvchilar, ya'ni ayol o'qituvchilar ko'proq odamlarga, ko'pchilikka yordam bera oladi.
So congratulations to Guli and to all of you for forming what is clearly a very helpful, supportive and influential network. I very much enjoyed telling you a little bit about my life so far, and I'll stop sharing my screen now if that's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Va bu boshlagan loyihalardan men juda ham xursandman va Guli xonima va barchalarni tabriklab qolaman. Shunaqangi bir loyiha boshlaganingizga, shunaqangi bir ayollarga ta'sir qiluvchi loyiha boshlaganingizga tabriklayman va juda ham bundan xursandman va o'zimni ekranimni pozitsiya qilishni to'xtataman.
Thank you, Nasiba.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guli.
Yes, thank you very much, Dame Meri, and thank you very much, Nasiba Ralpova. Hammalaringga katta rahmat mana shu qatnashib eshitganlaring uchun. Endi nimaga shall we move to for questioning? Shall we ask if anybody got any question, Dame Meri?
Of course.
Yeah. Marhamat, agarki masalan kimda savol bo'lsa, agar qo'lini ko'tarsin, mana shu qo'llaringni ko'tarsalaring, men tanlab sizlarni savollaringni eshitaman. Faqat iltimos mana shu yana bir bor aytsam, siyosatni qo'shmaysizlar degan umiddaman. Kimga qanaqa savol bo'lsa, marhamat savol berishlaringiz mumkin, qo'llaringizni ko'tarishlaringizni so'rab qolaman. Okay, Dilsora, Abdura Dilsora, marhamat.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, Meri Archer.
Good afternoon.
It's really nice to meet you and listen to you. I really appreciate you are the good and the best leader I have ever seen. So, my question is, I'm young leader. I'm not say like I'm leader, but I'm becoming leader. So, in our university, we run one business. So I'm a leader of this company and team, and we are facing some difficulties during this period, and little bit difficult to be leader. So what kind of advice do you recommend for young leader lady? Thank you so much for your answer beforehand.
Nasiba, do you want to translate that for your ladies, or is that all right?
I think so. Guli, do you want me to translate that one as well?
I think no need, so it's perfect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Tell me a little bit more about what you lead, Disora. Is it a company? What does it do?
Yeah. So yeah, this is a small company. We start run from September with 5 people, 4 men and 1 lady. It's about like online business within our university, but like compare with other company in our university, like our company is like behind. I don't know why. Maybe I'm not a good leader. Just I need more help and like advices. So yeah.
Well, your company is very, very young, and of course it's a extraordinarily difficult time with COVID raging around the world. What does the company do?
This is about online school. We teach teachers have to teach online. Like our target market is in India. So yeah, this is online school, training school.
Teachers how to teach online. Yes?
Sure, yeah, definitely.
Well, what a very useful thing to do. One of the very sad things about this pandemic is the lockdown of schools and children having to learn online, which is very distracting. I don't know about you, but if you don't want to listen to the speaker, you can look at all the little pictures on the screen instead. And if you watch a 7-year-old child, that's what they'll do when they're meant to be learning online. So it's difficult to advise, only to say that most companies have a phase of really struggling. Have you sought help maybe from any school system that would be interested in using your services?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, well, good luck with it. Good luck. It's brave to start a company. Very brave.
Yeah, thank you so much. And
Rahmat, bitta savolda boshqalarga nima beringda, iltimos. Rahmat, Zora. Jamila Mardonova, marhamat. Savolingiz bormi? Jamila Mardonova. Savolingiz bormi?
Yo'q, men rahmat aytmoqchiman.
Keyin endi
Yo'q, savolim yo'q. Rahmat aytmoqchiman. Rahmat.
keyin aytasiz hozir. Savollarni berib olaylik. Xo'p. Marhamat Nilufar Ergasheva. Agar savolingiz bo'lsa, marhamat, savol bo'lsa-da, marhamat.
Assalomu alaykum avvalambor hammalaringga. Nasibaxon o'rtaga chiqib translator qilib bersa ham minnatdor bo'lardim. Men savolim avvalambor hurmatli Meri Archer bizni nimamizda qatnashgandan juda ham xursandman va o'z minnatdorchiligimni bildirmoqchiman butun jamoamiz nomidan. Shu qatorida men ishlab chiqarishni yo'lga qo'yganman. O'zbekiston paxtasidan ishlab chiqilgan toza matoni butun dunyo bo'ylab sotishda qanday qilib ayollik, liderli ayollik va o'z biznes faoliyatida shuni yo'lga qo'yishni bir maslahatini so'ragan bo'lardim. Javob uchun oldindan rahmat.
Okay, so Nilufar is asking, and she's actually happy that you participated in this meeting, and she's asking for, she actually does the manufacturing of So she's asking how to be a leader, a female leader in global market when exporting Uzbek cotton soft material in the global market. So have to be a female leader in this.
You're asking me things of in which I have no expertise, but I would say that your part of the world is, of course, famous for beautiful fabrics. The Silk Road and Samarkand are really evocative names in the global market. One of my daughters-in-law is trying to do a similar thing, to be a textile and clothes designer. If I'm honest, she's struggling. It is a very hard business to break into. I think the only advice I could give, and it may seem rather discouraging, is to try something, and if it works, that's great. But if it doesn't, say after 4 or 5 years, to take that learning experience and do something different. Life goes on a long time, and you have time to try different things. And Guli might have something to say too, because she is developing an interesting career in various directions. So being an entrepreneur which I never really have been, so you may say I don't know what I'm talking about. But being an entrepreneur, you have to get used to some failure. That's not to say that you will fail, Nilufar, but it's a brave route that you're going down.
Thank you. Bular hozir aytyaptilar, ya'ni bu savolingiz bularni sohalardagi savol emas, lekin bunga javob berishga harakat qiladilar. Bularni ham aynan kelinlari, ya'ni Dotren va bularni kelinlari hisoblanadilar. Bular ham aynan o'sha ya'ni tekstil o'sha fabrika yo'nalishlarida ishlaydilar, ya'ni material yo'nalishida ishlaydilar, lekin to'g'risini aytsam deyaptilar, bu yo'nalishda juda ham qiynalyapti deb aytyaptilar, ya'ni o'zlarini kelinlari. Shuning uchun ya'ni bularni yagona tavsiyalari bo'lishi mumkin. Qaytadan ya'ni qaysidir yo'l o'xshamasa, yana boshqa yo'l, turli xil variantlarni ishlab ko'rish. Chunki aynan O'zbekiston bizani o'sha fabrika, ya'ni aynan tekstil sohasida, material ishlab chiqarish sohasi bo'yicha biz juda ham mashhurmiz. Va shuning uchun har xil yo'llarni sinab ko'rishni tavsiya qilyaptilar va bundan tashqari eng muhim narsa esdan chiqish kerak emaski, ya'ni yiqilish. Bu narsa endi siz aynan yiqilasiz, ya'ni bu biznesni toliqasiz yokida nimadir yomon holatga uchraysiz deb aytmayaptilar, lekin shu narsaga tayyor bo'lish va bu narsadan to'g'ri urok olgan holatda yana qaytadan harakat qilishni tavsiya qilyaptilar. Va bundan tashqari Guli xonimning ham qaysidir tavsiyalari bo'lishi mumkin, chunki o'zlari ham aynan shu sohada juda ham katta qiziqish bilan qotgan proyektlari, loyihalari ko'p.
Thank you very much, Meri Archer.
Not at all. Good luck, Nilufar.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nilufar. Marhamat, Yulduz Qudratova. Yulduzxon, marhamat.
Assalamu alaikum and good evening, everyone. Good evening, Lady Guli and Madam Meri. I would like to thanks for your today's speech, and I have a question for your. I need your advice because I work with men in a factory, and sometimes it becomes very difficult to work with them. I feel like they were upset with me. Sometimes I really need your advice that how can I behave at such times?
What does your factory make?
It is a car factory.
Okay, so that's a very male environment.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you the only woman working there?
Yeah, yes, almost like that.
Okay. And what is your job? Are you an engineer?
No, I am an HR specialist.
Okay. Okay. And it's difficult to get on with the men you work with because what? They don't respect you, or they shut you out, or what's the problem?
No. Sometimes in our culture, our men never show to ladies, but I feel like that, and sometimes I notice that they are really sad by me, with me. Maybe sometimes I said something wrong words, or maybe I engage in other side. Sometimes I cannot understand with their character.
And if you're in HR, human resources, are you in a position of leadership over some of these men? Are you director of human resources?
No. I am a second specialist. In my duty that I need to engage workers. I need to control.
You do need to control them. How long have you been doing the job?
3 years.
Are there any men who are easy to work with in the group?
No, never be like that, but it is too important their mood for me, because our car, it's including their moods. Maybe if they are sad, our car made not original. Maybe some fake situation will be, or another situation happened.
Okay. What I was wondering is whether in the group of men that you work with, there are some who are more friendly and more receptive to you, in which case my advice would be to talk to them, ask their advice and support in dealing with the men you find difficult. In other words, try to find some allies in the group of men. The problem is that groups copy each other's behavior, so that bad behavior is copied as well as good behavior is copied. And if you could find even one man to take your side when things get difficult, that would, I think, start to change the behavior of other men in the group. I don't know if you've noticed, but I don't know if you're in a situation where there's a big argument. There are certain people who raise the temperature all the time until it finally becomes even a fight. And there are others who lower the temperature. And it's those that you need to look to influence behavior and spread better behavior. Of course, it's always open to you to complain, but generally that won't improve relations.
Okay, thank you so much for your advice. Appreciate it.
Good luck. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Manimcha shuni shu savol javobni tarjima qilsak balki boshqalarga ham anaqa bo'lardi, yordam bo'lardi, chunki hozir juda ham bir yaxshi anaqani aytdilar. Ya'ni bu qizimizga savol berganlari asosan men o'sha odel kadr bo'limida ishlayman va ko'pincha men bilan ishlayotgan erkaklar ko'pincha xafa bo'lib qolishadi qaysidir ma'noda va shu narsa ularni ishlagiga ta'sir qiladi, ya'ni o'sha mashina ishlab chiqarishar ekan va shu narsaga ta'sir qiladi deb aytdilar. Va ular, ya'ni Meri bizga shunaqangi tavsiya berdilarki, ya'ni o'sha gruppadagi erkaklarni atrofida aynan siz bilan yaxshiroq chiqishadigan, siz bilan do'stona chiqisha oladigan insonni toping-da va shu bilan ozgincha maslahat qilib ko'ring. Chunki qaysidir argumentlar paytida siz yakka qolmangda, sizni yoningizda kimdir ya'ni поддержка qiladigan, ya'ni sizni qo'llab-quvvatlaydigan inson bo'lishi bu juda ham muhim. Va bu inson orqali aynan shu gruppadagi erkaklar nimani his qilyapti, nimani o'ylayapti, shu narsani bilsa bo'ladi. Va aynan o'sha gruppa erkaklarning gruppasidagi bitta, ya'ni hamma erkaklarga ta'sir qiladigan kishini topish kerak. Ya'ni u insonlar hammasi bitta odamdan yaxshi xulq qilayotgan bo'lishi ham mumkin, yomon xulq qilayotgan bo'lishi ham mumkin. Shuning uchun o'sha insonni topish kerak. Ya'ni qaysi xulqqa olyapti odamlar va shu inson qaysi xulqqa odamlarga yetkazib beryapti. Shu insonni topib, shu bilan yaxshilab gaplashib olib, ochiq oydinlik qilib vaziyatni to'g'rilab olish kerak deb aytdilar. Va bu menimcha hammamizga kerak, chunki erkaklar bilan ishlayotganda bizning yonimizda baribir kimdir qo'llab-quvvatlaydigan inson bo'lishi kerak deb o'ylayman.
Rahmat. Nasiba Rustamova, rahmat.
Nasiba desangiz ham bo'laveradi.
Nasiba, rahmat. Faxriddinova, marhamat.
Assalomu alaykum. Menga juda ham bugungi suhbat yoqdi. Men sal sohalariga yaqin bo'lgani uchun savol bermoqchi edim. Hozir Toshkent kimyo texnologiya institutini magistraturasida o'qiyman. Shu magistrlik dissertatsiyasiga mavzu hali tanlaganim yo'q. Aynan mavzuyim oziq-ovqat xavfsizligi, meni yo'nalishim. Shu bo'yicha hozir nima mavzular olsam maslahat beradilar, masalan, qiziqarli bo'lishi kerak. Hozirgi kunda aktualniy bo'lgan qanaqa mavzularni maslahat beradilar, qaysi sohada?
So Dame Meri, we have one question.
Tarjima qilib bersa.
So we have one question here. She's a bit similar to your direction. She studies at the chemical university in Tashkent, chemical technological university in Tashkent, and she is in master's. So she has to choose one topic for her master's thesis, and she needs your advice. she chose the direction of like food, like security. How would we say, like we can translate in this way as well?
Industry, maybe?
Industry, but the security or healthcare of food, we would say, no? And but she wants to ask, like, are there any specific topics that she can choose for her master's studies?
So, well, how nice to meet you and how nice to meet a fellow chemist. Let me ask a little more. Food security can mean several things. It can mean ensuring that a country or a region or even a family has enough to eat. So that's a matter of trade and growing crops. Food security could mean food safety. Is food safe to eat? Is it adulterated? What are the standards that need to be upheld? So could I just understand what is meant by food security in this context?
Hozir bular savol beryaptilar. Oziq-ovqat o'sha xavfsizligida aynan qaysi narsani nazarda tutyapsiz? Misol uchun, qaysidir oilaga o'sha oziq-ovqatda yetkazib berish ta'minotini yetarli emasligimi, yokida aynan qaysidir oziq-ovqatni yeyilayotganda o'sha narsa inson organizmiga zarari yo'qmi, yoki o'sha oziq-ovqatda qanaqadir zararli moddalar yo'qmi? Shu narsani bilmoqchilar, qaysi biriga ko'proq yaqin? Shu narsani ozgincha.
Bizda masalan hozir hamma har xil mahsulot ishlab chiqarishyapti, mavzu qilib. Masalan, detskiy pitaniyani o'sha zararsiz qilib chiqarish. Shunaqa. Masalan.
She says that there are people, like, they're choosing the topic like safety of the food for, let's say, children, for kids, for babies, like the safety of it. So I think it would be more similar to the one that you said as a second one, the food safety.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of children and young people, of course, diet is very important, a good diet, which many people in the UK do not have. We are a fat nation. We have a fat prime minister. That's not good. You ladies all look very slim. I'm not sure I'm answering the question, but the food we eat is tremendously important, particularly when we're young. And one of the things that is changing worldwide, I think, is the nature of diet in the developed world from a more meat-based diet to a more vegetarian or vegan diet. And so there's also the question of food sustainability. Can we feed the whole planet? Growing the population as we are. And so if I were choosing a subject for my master's thesis, I think I would be interested in what is the best diet for babies and children and young people that will also be sustainable on a national and global level. So yes, sustainability and security of food is one of the big questions, along with sustainability of energy supply and, of course, sustainability of the climate, which at the moment is not in a sustainable position.
Nasiba, would you?
Sorry?
Yeah,
I'm here. Bular hozir tafsir qilayotgan narsa, aynan hozir so'zlarni o'zi boshida bitta narsani aytib o'tdilar. Aynan dieta, ya'ni to'g'ri ovqatlanish. Juda ham muhim tema deb aytyaptilar, chunki misol uchun UKda, ya'ni Angliyada bu narsa почти yo'q. Chunki biz kulganimizda hozir aytdilarki, Angliya aynan semiz xalq deb aytyaptilar. Bizani hattoki premyer ministrimiz ham semiz deb aytyaptilar. Shuning uchun aynan o'sha diyetga bog'liq bo'lgan temalar juda ham muhim. Va agar men o'sha tanlashim kerak bo'lganda deb aytyaptilar, aynan davomli, ya'ni diyeta va bu narsani butun anaqaga global holatda xalqaro holatda buni tarqatish va bu narsani uzoq muddatli holatda tarqatish, aynan dieta masalasi va o'sha oziq ovqatda yeyilayotganda shu narsani organizmda semizlikka olib kelmaydigan holatdagi temani tanlagan bo'lardim deb aytyaptilar va asosan go'shtli mahsulotlarda vegetarianskiy ko'proq, ya'ni oziq sabzavotli mahsulotlarga o'tkazilganligi o'sha dietali temadan tanlagan bo'lardim deb aytyaptilar. Chunki bu narsa juda ham hozir muhim, xuddi quyosh energiyasi yoki bo'lmasam misol uchun klimatni o'zgarishi, ya'ni ob-havoni o'zgarishi, ya'ni kunlarni isib ketishi, mana shu temada qanchalik dolzarb bo'lsa, bu tema ham, ya'ni to'g'ri ovqatlanish temasi ham juda ham dolzarb masala deb aytdilar.
Thank you very much. Rahmat.
I'm sure I have answered your question. Have I?
Thank you.
Savolingizga javob berilgan bo'lsam, javob bera oldimmi deb aytdilar.
So the only thing I would say, choose a problem that you care about. Choose a problem that matters and that you care about, because then it will be a pleasure to work on it.
Bular hozir aytgan narsalar juda ham muhim haqiqatda, ya'ni aynan sizni qiynayotgan o'sha muammo yoki siz o'sha ko'rib bilib turgan vaziyatdagi muammoni tanlasangiz, bu muammoni ustida ishlash va o'sha master dissertatsiyangizni oqilishingiz ham osonroq bo'ladi va shu aynan siz ko'rib bilib turgan o'sha hozirgi vaziyatdagi qiyinchilik bo'layotgan muammoni tanlaganingiz yaxshiroq deb aytadi.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yana bitta savol olamiz, keyin shu bilan mehmonga javob bersak deb.
This is going to be the last question.
Okay.
G'ulomova, marhamat. G'ulomova.
Assalomu alaykum. Rahmat kattakon bugungi dars uchun, juda ham yoqdi, pozitivniy zo'r dars bo'ldi. Savolim shundan iboratki,
balandroq gapiring, ovozingiz chiqmayapti.
Hozir. Endicha eshitilyaptimi?
Balandroq gapiring-da, baqirib gapiring-da.
Xo'p. Rahmat kattakon. Men Milliy universitetda ijtimoiy fanlar yo'nalishi oila va bolalar bilan ishlash fakultetida o'qiyman. Men shu bizda hozir ijtimoiy yo'nalish O'zbekistonda endi rivojlanib kelyapti. Men shu o'zim yo'nalishimni juda ham yaxshi ko'raman. Bizda hozir asosan oila va bolalarga e'tibor kuchayyapti. Bu qariyalarga, bolalarga, yetim yesir bolalarga e'tibor juda ham kuchayyapti hozirda. Sekin уже aktivlashyapti. Hozir har tarafdan mehribonlik uylariga, qiynalgan oilalarga yordam mahallalar tarafdan katta yo'lga qo'yilyapti hozirda. Men shu sohani rivojlantirib, qilish uchun o'zimni yordamimni bermoqchiman. Birinchi navbatda shu nimalarga e'tibor berishim kerak shu soha yo'nalishi uchun, yaxshi rivojlanishi uchun. Chunki hozir bu ijtimoiy yordamga muhtoj oilalar ham hozir ko'p. Shunga men birinchi bo'lib nimalarga asosan e'tibor berishim kerak deb savol bermoqchi edim.
So this lady is asking, actually she studies at the university, at the National University in direction of social direction, like parents and like family and children. So it can include like taking care of elder people, like orphanage people, children, family, so everything which is like in the social, like social directional kind of a sphere. And the question would be, so she's asking to which parts she has to just concentrate on the most as she wants to develop this direction, and she really likes to study in this direction. And nowadays in our country, actually, there are lots of like people who are helping to those like orphanage houses, the elder people, and so what could be one of the other like things that would just help them more, and what can she do to contribute her best in this direction?
So let me make sure I understand the question first.
Okay.
Is Gulamova, is she what we would call a social worker? That is somebody who is a professional who helps families in difficulty, perhaps a young mother struggling with her children, or perhaps, as you say, children in an orphanage, or elderly people, perhaps in a care home. Is that the kind of thing? I'm not sure I've understood.
Yes, it is, but it can include like all of those sections that you mentioned. Yes.
Okay. Well, what a wonderful thing to be doing, because there's going to be a huge demand for people like you, Gulamova. We need more carers with an aging population. And it's always the case that some families will be in difficulties and will split up, and there will be children who need help. So I'm interested that you could think of working either with children or with old people, because normally you'd be interested in one or the other. So would you tell us a little bit more about what she thinks about those two directions?
Hozirgi aytgan savolingizdan bilib juda ham xursandman, chunki bu bunaqa insonlar bizga hozir juda ham kerak va bu soha juda ham qadrlanadigan soha hozirgi kunda. Va bularning asosiy savollari, siz ko'proq yoshlar bilan ishlashni ko'proq afzal ko'rasizmi yoki yoshi katta bo'lgan insonlar bilan, misol uchun qariyalar bilan ishlashmi? Qaysi biri ko'proq sizga to'g'ri keladi?
Menga asosan men o'zi tabiatdan o'zi mehribon insonman. Yoshi qariyalarni ham tillarini bemalol topa olaman. Ularga nima kerak bo'lsa oldilarida turib, masalan, o'zim uyda dodajonim, buvijonimlarga bundoq bemalol qarab, ularga mehrimni bera olaman. Qariyalar bilan ishlashim ham oson, bolalar bilan juda ham chiqishib ketaman. Asosanchi bu meni maqsadim shu o'sib kelayotgan yoshlarimizni shu hayotdan yaxshi ruhiyatda o'ssin, nima deydi, hayotga bo'lgan negativ fikrlari yo'q bo'lishini xohlayman. Chunki asosan biz uchun yo'nalishimiz shunaqa bo'lishi kerakki, ular ruhlanib, masalan, hozir ko'ryapman, shu men xursand bo'lamanki, shunaqa pozitiv insonlarning orasida men dars olayotganimga. Ular ham xuddi shunaqa bizdek bo'lib, intilishini xohlayman. Men bu hayotga bo'lgan nima deydi, ko'zidagi quvonchi, qalbidagi quvonchi hech qachon so'nmasligini xohlayman. Ular ham inson nima uchundir harakat qilishiga haqli. Shu uchun ham men xohlaymanki, men bular bilan ham ishlay olaman, yoshlar bilan ham, yoshi katta insonlar bilan ham ishlay olaman.
Actually, this is really emotional speech that I must translate. She says like she is so caring person, like in the nature, she's really caring person, and she can really get involved with elder people and with children as well. What she aims to do about young people is that she wants them to see the motivation in their life, and she is studying with the positive people, and she wants them, those young people, to be like to be in among like those positive people as her, and she wants them to see kind of a really great motivation in their future and not thinking anything about negativity. And so either working with elder people or young people, she can just do her best in order to make this happen for them. Like she also has like her grandparents, and she really takes good care of them. So like basically she's really nice person and I think she wants to be good for everyone.
Well, then it seems to me you could do either, but from the little you've told me, it seems to me that you'd be very good with young people. You're very young yourself. You're very idealistic. Children are very idealistic and they need ideals. They're growing up in a difficult world. And somebody who can be a source of inspiration and hope and stability is really helpful. particularly for children who have the terrible misfortune of not having a stable home. It's something that children, I think, really need help to overcome if they come from a difficult background. And I would say that working with young children might be your niche, because if you can intervene with a young child, you can set them off on the right path for life.
Bu berganlaringizdan men tushunishim mumkinki, siz ko'proq yoshlar bilan ishlashingiz maqsadga muvofiq bo'ladi, chunki misol uchun bizning hayotimizda juda ham ko'p, ya'ni yoshlikda qiyinchilik bilan katta bo'lgan farzandlar yoki qiyin oilada yoki bo'lmasam qiyinchilik ko'rgan va yaxshi muhitda katta bo'lmagan farzandlar shu muhitda yashayotgan yoshlar juda ham ko'p va shularga to'g'ri yo'l ko'rsatish va shularga motivatsiya berish va shularga qaysidir ma'noda yordam berish, bu o'sha ularni kelajakda chiroyli kelajakka intilishiga yordam beradi va shuning uchun ham menimcha ko'proq yoshlar bilan ishlasangiz ko'proq maqsadga muvofiq bo'ladi deb aytaman.
Rahmat kattakon, juda ham xursand bo'ldim. Rahmat.
She's really thankful. Thank you so much. She's saying.
Very good luck, Gula Baba.
Oh my. So Guli Khanum?
So I think that was the last question, right?
Yes, that was the last question. Yes.
Well, can I just say how nice it's been to be with you all this afternoon. I've really enjoyed talking to you. There's so much that you can do as individuals and so much you can do together, talking amongst yourselves. And Guli, well done for putting together such an interesting and supportive, mutually supportive group of women. I wish you all the best, all of you.
Nice. Yeah, translate.
Shall I translate now,
Yeah.
or you have something?
No, you
Okay.
translate.
Bugungi kunda.
Yes, please.
Sorry?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, okay. Bugungi bu loyihada qatnashgandan juda ham mamnunman, juda ham xursand bo'ldim. Aynan bir-birini qo'llab-quvvatlovchi ayollarning gruppasida bo'lganimdan bu tushlik deb aytyaptilar. Ya'ni ularda hozir Angliyada adashmasam hozir soat 1:30dan oshdi.
3:30?
3:30 даже, да. Va bu anaqada qatnashganimdan juda ham xursandman. Bu loyihada qatnashganimdan xursandman va Guli xonimga omadlar tilab qolaman, qo'llab-quvvatlab qolaman.
Thank you very much, Dame Meri, and I do appreciate the ladies. They're very happy to see you, and myself, I would like to thank you from bottom of my heart, and that they're all excited, and hopefully I shall see you before I depart. And our project is quite big, so in the future I shall see you again. We will invite you again. It will be really good. Maybe somehow in summer we will welcome you again. So it was really amazing. And thank you very much for everything. Thank you for your support.
My pleasure. See you next week, maybe, Guli.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Yaxshimisizlar, hurmatli ayollar? Qanday bo'ldi dars?
Assalomu alaykum.
Va alaykum assalom.
Assalomu alaykum.
Zo'r bo'ldi.
Rahmat intervyu uchun.
Rahmat kattakon.
Va alaykum assalom. Bitta bir minut.
Assalomu alaykum.
Va alaykum assalom. Bitta nima? Nasiba, qanisiz? Nasiba.
Here, I'm here.
Nasiba, thank you very much. Katta rahmat mana shu.
Rahmat Nasibaxon.
Nasibaxon.
Rahmat kattakon Nasibaxon.
Rahmat.
sizni
O'zbekcha so'zlar ozgincha esimdan chiqib qolgan bo'lsa ham maksimal harakat qilaman.
Yo'q, yaxshi bo'ldi.
Juda ham qiziq bo'ldi, o'zimga yaxshi yoqdi.
Zo'r bo'ldi.
Hayajon bo'ldi, chunki nima oldi bu kishi mani nima ya'ni qo'shnim va opamdek bo'lgan, bizlar do'st, bizlar nima bo'lganda ham baribir ham hayajon nima bo'ladi-da, hayajon keladi, chunki bu normal holat deb o'ylayman. Mana shuning uchun salgina hayajonlanib ketdim. Mana nima qilib Lor janoblari ham qatnashmoqchi edilar. Afsuski aytdilarki, shu ayollarni o'zlaring nima qilinglar, ayollar o'tirib gaplashinglar dedilar. Menga navbat keladi dedilar. Rahmat hammalaringga qatnashganlaringiz uchun. Bu darsimizda mana shu Bahar, agar o'chirsangiz nima deysiz, iltimos. Bu ayollar bilan ishlash oson emas, Nasiba Rustamova. Chunki men bilasizmi, bu to'g'risini aytsam agar ham ayollar gruppasi bor bizda, ham erkaklar gruppasi bor-da. Mani kotibalarim ishlashadi bular bilan. Mani o'zim ham. Yana boshqa gruppalar bor bizda. Mana bu Angliyaniki, ya'ni Morokko, boshqa gruppalarimiz bor. Endi men aytmoqchimanki, haqiqatan ayollar bilan ishlash oson emas. Buni tan olish kerak. Chunki ayollar energichni, chem nimada erkaklarga ko'ra